went back and rewatched a lot of the original Goosebumps to prep for this video, and just to kind of make sure that these villains were at the top of my mind before I talked about them. And as I was doing that, I made this realization that kind of took me by surprise, and it kind of bummed me out a little bit, and I'll share with you what that was when we get to the end of the list, but it kind of shocked me. Let's get into it. You know, you can't talk about Goosebumps villains without starting with the king of chaos himself, Slappy the Dummy. Now, this little wooden menace has been terrorizing kids since the Night of the Living Dummies series, and honestly, even though he's not like the largest or the strongest villain in the entire series, he's probably the most iconic villain in all of Goosebumps history. But don't let his small size fool you. Slappy is a master manipulator. He doesn't need the brute strength because he's all about mind games. He's very smart. He can turn whole families against each other. He can make your friends think that you've gone crazy, and he always seems to be 2 steps ahead. Here's the thing though. Even though he's small and, you know, I am a dude that likes to wake up early and go to the gym and blah blah blah, I can't punch psychological warfare. Slappy would have me questioning my entire existence before I could even think to grab a weapon. And if I somehow did manage to take him down, he would just possess another doll or come back even stronger. It's like playing chess with somebody who's memorized every move that you've ever made and are ever going to make. So there. Slappy wouldn't just kick my ass, he would humiliate me while doing it too. And he'd probably have several pun-filled one-liners while he was doing it, and I'd probably be giggling the whole time too, man. The next Goosebumps villain that could kick my ass is the werewolf from the Werewolf of Fever Swamp. Now, this guy isn't just scary. He's a full-on survival nightmare. Imagine being stuck in the middle of a swamp hearing growls in the distance, knowing that something that's faster than you, stronger than you, and hungrier than you is coming straight for you. The werewolf isn't your average Goosebumps villain. He's actually this primal, relentless thing, and unlike Slappy, the werewolf couldn't care less about clever tricks or schemes. He's just there to hunt, and guess what? You're the prey. Or I guess I should say I'm the prey since this is a video about things that could kick my ass. But let's be real, I wouldn't last 5 minutes against this werewolf. I would just be slipping around in mud, getting stuck in the knee-deep, dirty water, and probably trying to Google how to survive a werewolf attack, while this thing had already eaten half of me. There is no talking your way out of this monster. He's pure instinct, and he's simply built to win. If the Werewolf of Fever Swamp decided to come after me, I would just start writing my obituary on the spot right there in the mud. There's no hope, there's no chance, and there's definitely no escape from this thing. I thought about putting the Haunted Mask in this list because, yeah, man, that episode is iconic, of course, and it's very scary, and it's, you know, this defining episode for the entire TV series as a whole. But when you zoom out and kind of look at the big picture, you don't have to put the mask on. It's not choosing you as its victim, you're simply choosing yourself to be the victim once you get the mask on. So if I had the knowledge of the Goosebumps universe, I would just simply not wear the mask. So I couldn't really include the Haunted Mask in this particular list, but I can certainly include the creeps from Calling All Creeps. These creeps are slimy, reptilian creatures who blend into society, pretending to be normal students by day and evil, world-dominating creatures by night. And the big evil plan is to plant identity seeds in the schools tuna surprise to turn everyone into creeps just like them, to grow their army. The good news for me, I'm actually very allergic to tuna, so I wouldn't eat the tuna surprise anyway. But the bad news is the creeps might be kind of mindless and, you know, honestly easy to outsmart at times, but they're also proof that sometimes the general public is almost too easy to sway. If you're charismatic enough and you know how to spin things to appeal to their best interests, you can convince them of anything. We've seen this time and time again. That's exactly how the creeps operate, and sure, these guys are not the sharpest villains, but their strength lies in numbers and manipulation. By the time that I realized that something was wrong, half the town would already be transformed into reptilian chaos, and I'd just be next on the list. The creeps don't really need intelligence. They've got mob mentality on their side. Even if I were to outsmart one of them, I'd still be overwhelmed by the rest of them. The next Goosebumps villain that could certainly kick my ass is probably Monster Blood. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It's this sentient, glowing green blob with no chill. It doesn't just grow. It keeps growing. No matter where you run, no matter how far you go, it's coming for you. In fact, Monster Blood once boarded a plane and followed its target across the country. That's right, this thing is more determined than a toxic ex on social media. Monster Blood doesn't seem to have any sort of plan or overarching scheme. It's just pure, unstoppable chaos. It devours everything in its path, and it just keeps expanding. Fighting Monster Blood is a no-win situation. You can't punch it, you can't run from it, and you certainly aren't going to reason with it. I would be doomed the second it entered the room. Plus, the fact that it's willing to travel across the country to get its target, that's commitment that I just don't need in my life. So yeah, Monster Blood would totally destroy me. I'd probably spend too much time trying to figure out why it's chasing me, only to end up as a gooey snack. Up next are the pumpkin heads from Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. These guys are actually next level terrifying because they're not just creepy decorations brought to life, they're actual aliens, and they eat actual humans. These guys can shoot lasers from their claws, and they can shoot fire from their face, dude. That's a thing. That's a thing with these guys. It's like someone gave your Halloween pumpkins the power of a full-blown action movie villain, and they're not here for and they're not here for the candy. You can't fight something against that, you know? Even if I managed to dodge the fire and the lasers, I think they'd eventually catch me and turn me into their next meal. And let's be real, even being eaten by pumpkin aliens, that's not exactly how I want to go out. They're relentless, they're overpowered, and they're way too creative with their methods of destruction. If I ever saw them coming, the only thing that I could do would just apologize for every pumpkin pie I've ever eaten in my life. And that's a lot. Now, as I was going back and rewatching these episodes just to make sure that I was remembering them right and not leaving anything out, I discovered that a lot of these episodes are bad. They're kind of hard to watch, and I say that with love and respect because I love Goosebumps. I read pretty much every one of the books in elementary school as they were coming out, but what I discovered was Are You Afraid of the Dark is simply the better show. I mean, it was better produced, most of the time written better, and the villains were much scarier and had a much more lasting impact than anything that I remembered watching from Goosebumps. Now, why am I just learning this now? Did you know this? Did you have this information the whole time and just didn't tell me? Let me know which show you think was better in the comments, and not just through nostalgia goggles either. If you've actually seen both series relatively recently, which one do you really think is the better one? Also, bonus, if you want an Are You Afraid of the Dark villains that could certainly kick my ass video, let me know in the comments too. I'd love to make one.